Solve the system of linear equations using Cramer's rule. So Cramer's rule is yet another method of determining the solution to a system of equations. And what's interesting about Cramer's rule is it doesn't require you to do any sort of interchanging of variables, multiplying equations by values, adding equations together. It solely depends upon the coefficients of the system within and calculating determinants. All right, let's try it out. So first off, we define matrix D, or it's going to be a determinant, but I'll say capital D is the determinant of the matrix that just includes the x and y variables. So not the constants over here. So this is going to be -5, -1, -3, 4. So this is matrix D, and the determinant of that is going to be, we'll just use the 2 by 2 method. So -5 times 4 is -20. Then minus the product, -1 times -3, which is 3. So that's -23. All right, then we'll make two other matrices. So D sub x and D sub y. And what we do in this case, to make these matrices, we replace in the x column with the constants. So 14 and 13 would go here. In D sub y, we would replace the y column with the constants. But then we would leave the other variable column the same. So since we replaced x with 14 and 13, we leave the y column as -1 and 4. And in D sub y, we leave the x column as -5, -3. And we calculate the determinant of these matrices. So 4 times 14 is 56, I believe. Then we subtract the product of 13 and -1, which will be -13. So 56 minus -13 would be simplified by adding. So 56 plus 13, that's going to give me, what, 69. All right, D sub y, do the same thing here. Let's see, 5 times 13, let me get that real quick. That's 65. So that would be -65 actually. Then minus the product of 14 and 3, which is 42. So plus 42. All right, so that looks like it will be -23. I probably should double check that just to be certain. What was it? -65 plus 42. Yeah. Now, the solution to this system is going to be an xy coordinate pair, but the x and y come from taking the determinant for the x variable over D divided by the determinant for the y variable over D. So in this case, we would have 69 over -23, and then -23 over -23. So what we get here is -3 and +1. And this is the solution that solves this system. Now, clearly there are much faster ways of determining the solution to a system, but it is interesting to note that with Cramer's rule, you don't need any kind of substitutions or eliminations or any of those sort of methods. It's purely computational.